Well, fears that Test cricket TV audiences might take a hit from the revamped Big Bash games have been bowled over. Dave Warner's century in Perth attracting very big ratings, and there's still all the one-dayers to come. Well, to take us through Nine's summer of cricket so far, we're joined by Brad McNamara, executive producer of cricket at Nine Network. Brad, thanks so much for coming on. Just wanted to ask you about just how big a summer of cricket it has been for Nine in terms of number of days of actual cricket that you've covered.
Yeah, it's been an amazing summer. Unfortunately, the number of days hasn't been quite as many as we would have liked due to the dominance of the Australian team over the Indians. But you can't always get, what you want, in the words of the great Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. The ratings have been enormous. We're up 33% on the Ashes last year, which is almost unheard of. So far this summer, 9 million people, well, over 9 million people watched the Perth Test alone. And even more telling for us is the fact that last time India were out here in 07-08, before digital TV on free-to-air, our ratings are up 10% on that, and there's 10% less people watching free-to-air TV, so that's another telling factor. So we're over the moon with the ratings.
Now, mate, you're a former player yourself. I think you probably... Were you around when 2020... You probably just missed the start of 2020, did you? I know you played in England a bit too.
Yeah, unfortunately I did miss the 2020 circus. I might not have to work for a living if I didn't. It's a bit disappointing.
Now, Nine doesn't have a lot of 2020. Would you like to have some more? And tell us about how's the Big Bash this year? There was some thought that it might cut into your figures.
Oh, look, I don't think it has at all. I mean, the figures have been fantastic, as I mentioned. So, look, the great thing about 2020 is, it does cater for a different demographic. You only have to go to a 2020 match. There's more women, families, children, which is great. And I think as a broadcaster broadcasting cricket, we want to try and appeal to all demographics, for our sales team sort of thing to work with. And the more 2020 we can get, I think it's a great thing.
And now you've got a couple of games coming up.
Yeah, we've got the first ever Cricket International at Homebush on February 1, Australia and India. That should be enormous. I know I was speaking to the people at ANZ Stadium today. They've already sold 55,000 tickets for that. So given a nice day, we're probably expecting that to be our highest rating night of the summer.
We were speaking to a Fox Sports Patrick Delaney before Christmas about the success of Big Bash. I mean, would you like to see more 2020 on the schedule for Nine, especially when the rights come up again? Yeah,
there's absolutely no doubt. We've got our eye on it. We've got a first and last rights negotiation deal for domestic cricket. So, look, that's probably a negotiation for people far higher for me up the totem pole. But look, I've got no doubt the success of the Big Bash has been a great thing for cricket. It's a great thing for us, as we do have the first and last in the negotiation table. And we've been more than happy to see that go well, because hopefully down the track we'll end up with a bit of that on our screens. And I think realistically, if people like Cricket Australia want to take cricket to a broader audience, they probably eventually have to get it on free-to-air TV.
I guess the thing about the tests is it brings sort of prime time size audiences to daytime TV, which you never get in any other way, do you? Which is good for the sponsors. You said we've missed a few days because some of the games have ended early. How does it compare with the tennis? I mean, the tennis seems to ebb and flow a bit. If you get a Leighton Hewitt or another Aussie doing well, the numbers bounce. But does cricket give you a more consistent ratings result? It
certainly does, yeah. I mean, the ideal thing for us would be to have Test cricket in prime time, and the only place that does happen is in the Perth Test with the time difference. And that's one of the reasons probably our numbers were so good last week. The tennis is probably like the cricket a little bit, in Australians are very parochial. They love to see their own do well. I suppose when an Australian tennis player is on and doing well, the ratings, I would imagine, would skyrocket. And the same with the cricket. If we're on and doing well and we're winning, we find that people are watching no matter what, whether it's a contest, whether it's an absolute flogging, it doesn't seem to matter. So, I think Australian people, no matter what the sport, like to see the Aussies win, and when they do, they tend to watch in droves.
Are you worried there might be a bit of viewer fatigue though as we get towards the end of the season, with the one day still to come?
Yeah, there's a lot of cricket left. And one-day cricket, for the first time in a long time this year, is going to go back to the Tri-Series. In the last 2 or 3 seasons, we've only had 10 matches. This year, there's 14, possibly 15 if it goes to a third final. So, yeah, it is a long season. It is spread out. It runs right up to the start of the NRL and AFL seasons this year. There is always that worry that you know, if one side does dominate or if one side gets a long way ahead of the table, you get some dead matches. But what we found over the years is that the numbers for one-day cricket have been extremely good, and our viewing audiences tell us they still love one-day cricket. I know there's been a lot written and said about, you know, there may be some boring patches during matches, and look, I think as long as Australia do well in this series, we fully expect the numbers to hold up and hopefully carry them right through to the football season.
Yeah, the bit of criticism that the cricket's not available in HD, something which sort of Fox Sports is one of its trademarks and how it differentiates itself from you guys. How successful has been running the cricket on Gem? I noticed the numbers don't. It seems that people like to talk about HD, but they don't seem to go there in big numbers when they have the opportunity to watch it there.
Yeah, we do actually broadcast the cricket in HD, but unfortunately Gem is our high.
You don't simulcast much, though, do you?
No, but I think it's a great thing that we can. The government's allowed to do that now. So, for instance, at 6 o'clock in the eastern states, when we do go to our news, which is no doubt probably the most important program of the day for a free-to-air TV network, that we can now give the viewers the option to go to Gem channel, and I think something around 90% of people now have that capability. So I think it's a great thing for the viewing public. I mean, there's nothing worse than having to go off the cricket at an important time, and it must be frustrating. It's frustrating for us to have to do it, but now that we've got this capability, I think it's a great thing. And I think down the track you'll probably see more and more cricket on the digital channels like Gem, and I know this year there's some plans to maybe put some of the one days, the India versus Sri Lanka matches on the Gem channel. Be interesting to see what the audiences are there.
Just quickly as well, Brad, I mean, how big an undertaking is it to broadcast the cricket? I mean, how expensive is it per night?
It's enormously expensive. I mean, there's always two ways you can do things. We pride ourselves on our cricket coverage. It's widely acknowledged, if you don't mind me saying so, as being the best cricket coverage in the world. It is an enormous undertaking. I suppose on any given day we've probably got 120 people out on site working on the cricket, and that's not counting all the people back at Channel 9 who are actually putting the pitches to air. So it's an enormous coverage. There's a lot of, you know, involved in the selling of the coverage, the editorial aspect. You know, we've got a fantastic commentary team, and we're very conscious that it's not just a business of providing great entertainment for the people, because cricket is Australia's national sport.
It's been great to have you on the program, Brad. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure being here.
Well, there have been some more executive changes. We've been hearing that the Facebook Australia and New Zealand manager, Paul Burrard, has resigned, so a search on from both within the company and outside the company for a new local head. Let's get some more now on some of the other executive changes that we've had this week. And James, Screen New South Wales has got a new chief executive.
Yeah, Maureen Barron's taking over the role. She's previously been head of Screen Queensland, so she knows a bit about that sort of where to invest in programming. Going to be a busy year for a lot of TV shows on in New South Wales. Barron's a great choice. I think started off as a lawyer by backgrounds, worked in production, worked at Southern Star for a while, so I think she'll do well. And
a new Sydney sales director for Nine, Andrea Ingham?
Yep, absolutely. She's part of the sort of senior sales team. Peter Wilshire heading up. He's now sort of the Nine Entertainment Group, if you like. Under him, Michael Stevenson, and then Andrea. Andrea's worked with Peter Wilshire for quite a while at a couple of different employers, so we obviously values her very greatly.
We saw the Golden Globes this week. Ricky Gervais there in fine form, well, according to some. What do you think? I mean, does winning an award for a show boost its ratings here locally, even if the show isn't going to be on, you know,
we will know next Monday. Homeland was the big winner for Channel 10, won 2 awards, premieres on Sunday night, so the timing was perfect. A lot of buzz about that show. Those awards certainly helped that. So, yeah, we'll know on Monday. How much will it help? It's really hard to tell, but it certainly won't hurt, and it's helped give the show a lot more publicity.
Just quickly as well, we've seen the launch dates revealed for the new channels coming on subscription TV as well.
Yeah, big month in February. First up will be A&E, launching on February 16. If you want to find that, it's available in HD on 607, just a couple channels above the old business channel.
Yep.
And it's also on standard definition on 230. Coming on Feb 26, FX channel. I think we talked about that last year. Home of The Walking Dead, the zombie show. So we'll be looking, that's Feb 26, Channel 123.
Okay.
It's an easy one to remember.
Yeah, and just quickly as well, we did see some headlines this week about Matthew Johns reportedly refusing an offer to return to Nine's Footy Show.
Yeah, a lot of sort of, it's hard to get to the bottom of this, but Nine were talking to Andrew Johns. He was with the Footy Show a few years ago. He went to 7. They tried a prime time Footy Show, didn't do fantastically well. So, but they thought, look, it'd be good to get him back. Andrew Johns sort of comments this week where look, he'll come back to Nine, but he doesn't want to come back to the same thing he was on. He doesn't want to host the Footy Show. He'd be happy to talk about a new program, maybe at a different time slot. I don't think that's going to happen. 9:30 seems to be the right place for a program that's sort of for a niche audience, if you like.
And of course, we are taking a bit of a break next week. No show because of the Australia Day holiday, but James is already in holiday mode. Marketing campaigns.
It's Australia Day. If you celebrate Australia Day with your free hat from the Sunday Telegraph or another News Limited papers in other states, look out for them this Sunday. A campaign, Zenith Optimedia are marketing this, so it'll be all over TV and radio the next couple of days, and help you get
just
through
one
Australia
of a few
Day.
marketing campaigns you think leading up.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that, James.
Okay, Bridie.
That's all we've got time for this week from the team here. Thanks for your company.